no heludin selele. Selele, selele, selele. Okpe no heludin selele.
Legend has it that the villagers of Agbor never ventured too close to Baba Edafe's compound. Baba Edafe was an Ika chief priest whose reputation spread far and wide for his mastery of the arcane arts. Agbor, located in modern-day Delta State, was a rebellious community towards the kingdom of Great Benin. And Baba Edafe was a prominent figure feared not only by the people of Agbor, but in all other townships in Ika land and Great Benin, and including his apprentice, the beautiful Iyenuhoro. Although Iyenuhoro feared Baba Edafe for his temper, she also revered him for his immense talent in the ancient art of magic and warfare. When the Agbor fighters went on their raids, they would often call on Baba Edafe for protective charms. The Agbor fighters were notorious barbarians known for their lethal attacks on other villages. One day, Baba Edafe sent Iyenuhoro to the market to fetch a white goat. While she was there, she encountered the Agbor fighters who had just returned from a successful raid on Owo village, which belonged to Oba Ozoluwa of the Benin Kingdom. The Agbor fighters were boasting in the market square, relishing on their latest victory. Iyenuhoro hurried back to Baba Edafe's compound to inform him of the Agbor fighters' success. They were also on their way to thank him for his assistance in the raid. It was a great triumph for the Agbor fighters, who were delighted to have humiliated Oba Ozoluwa, the so-called greatest warrior of Benin, and his giant oaf of a son, Arhuan. Meanwhile, across the vast expanse of Ika land, in Benin Kingdom, news of the humiliating attack led by the Agbor fighters reached the ears of Oba Ozoluwa the Conqueror and the Uzama elders. They convened a council meeting to discuss how to put an end to the Agbor Barbarians once and for all. The council ultimately decided that Arhuan, the Oba's son, would lead an expedition to conquer the Agbor village in his father's name. Arhuan was a great warrior who had successfully won many battles for his father. But this time, when Arhuan was called, he was greatly displeased with the council's decision. He had been passed over for dukeship and was tired of being at the beck and call of his father and the Benin elders without any compensation. You see, many years ago, Oba Ozoluwa had been without an heir until two of his Eloi gave birth on the same day. Although baby Idubo was born first, it was the cries of baby Osawe that rang out across the courtyards of the area. As per the decree, a royal baby must cry before their birth can be announced. Oloi Idia, the mother of baby Osawe, presented her son to the Oba and the Benin elders, who declared him the first son and heir to the throne. Baby Idubo was relegated to the second slot, and as he grew to be a giant, so he was given the name Arhuan by the people of Great Benin. Arhuan recoiled in horror as he recalled his tragic fate. Despite towering over everyone in the land and being a formidable warrior who had fought alongside his father and won many battles, he had never been granted any royal titles. So why should he now help his father defeat the Agbor fighters? The Agbor people were powerful and known for their resistance to outside forces. Ultimately, he decided to accept the challenge, knowing that his people were counting on him. Arhuan went to his mother's hut to seek solace. Oloi Oromi always knew how to console her son. "My son," she said, "if it's titleship you want, you will get it. But first, you must defeat the warriors of Agbor." This last attack was too humiliating, and the leopard does not allow his prey to escape him a second time. Arhuan shook his head. In truth, he would have loved to give the Agbor fighters a taste of their own medicine, but they had extraordinary mystical assistance. Everyone knew that Baba Edafe fed them charms that made them ferocious and powerful. He had heard tales of how barbaric their attacks were, and he didn't want to risk losing the lives of his men. As if she read his mind, Oloyo Oromi poked him. Listen, my son, the Agbor fighters do not have two heads. They are just ordinary human beings. We all know that Edafe is their juju provider, and he's so powerful that no one dares cross him. But there is someone even more powerful than him in that same village. Her name is Iyenuhoro. Get her, and all your problems will be solved. Arhuan nodded in agreement. His mother was right. To defeat the notorious Agbor warriors and secure his future, he needed to fight fire with fire. And the most promising option was this Iyenuhoro, the sorceress. Since it was a covert operation, Arhuan called upon General Ewohimi, his most trusted warrior. The duo prepared themselves, and at the darkest hour, they sneaked into Agbor territory to retrieve Iyenuhoro. Unsuspecting, Iyenuhoro had retreated to the shed. As she was about to lay down to sleep, she felt a giant hand cover her mouth. It was Arhuan and Ewohimi. They had successfully infiltrated the Agbor village and used an insider to locate Iyenuhoro's sleeping quarters. They bundled Iyenuhoro and quickly made their way out of the shed. But just then, an Agbor fighter who was returning from a night celebration spotted them and attempted to sound the alarm. Without hesitation, Ewohimi took aim and launched a spear with deadly accuracy, piercing the fighter's forehead and silencing him instantly. Then the duo escaped back to Benin Kingdom with their captive in tow. The warrior group returned to the kingdom. In the warrior's lodge, they placed Iyenuhoro on the ground. As she struggled to her feet, she saw light coming from the door and attempted to make a run for it. But Ewohimi was too quick for her. He bundled her right back in and threw her to the ground in front of Arhuan, who loomed over her with a fierce gaze. "What do you want?" Iyenuhoro cried out, her voice filled with fear and defiance. "You better kill me now, because I will never help you." "Yes, you will, you Aze," Arhuan's voice boomed through the room. "You are a powerful sorceress, and you will help us defeat the Agbor fighters." "I am no witch," she retorted, her eyes flashing with anger and fear. "I am just an orphan, but my master is the most powerful priest in the whole world. And if you do not return me safe and sound, he will come for me and destroy you before you can cry out to Iyenuhoro." Arhuan chuckled in amusement. "Let's leave the ancestors out of this," he said. "Now, I want you to make powerful amulets for my men and I to use in battle." But Iyenuhoro refused. "It's better you kill me, or my master will deal with you." Arhuan's face darkened with anger and frustration. He had risked everything to capture this elusive sorceress, and her refusal infuriated him. Just then, Oloyo Oromi entered the warrior's lodge. She silenced the young apprentice with a stern look, then said, "Listen carefully, child. Your master has lied to you for years. The power within you is far greater than that of Edafe." With a swift motion, Oloy grabbed Iyenuhoro's wrist, revealing a fresh wound over her large birthmark. She pinched it hard, which made Iyenuhoro scream in pain. "You are no orphan," the Oloy continued. "You were born in Uroho, a village that was attacked and destroyed by the warriors of Agbor. They killed your entire family, leaving no witnesses except for you. But you are not alone. You come from a lineage of powerful sorceresses, true daughters of Edion, the goddess of the moon and sea. Then the Oloi pointed at the birthmark on Iyenuhoro's wrist. This marking is the Iwu, a symbol of your lineage. It holds the power to do and undo kingdoms. Edafe is a mere mortal, a useless priest who would have rotted away long ago if not for you. Iyenuhoro's eyes widened with shock and realization. She had always known that she was different, but she had never imagined the true extent of her power. Perhaps there was a way to use her abilities to defeat their enemies and protect the kingdom of Benin and herself as well. But there was still one question that remained unanswered. Why did Baba Edafe lie to me? She asked. The Oloi's face grew dark with anger. He lied to keep you under his control, to make you think that you were alone in the world. He feared your power, your potential to become greater than him. But now it is time for you to embrace your true identity and use your gifts for the good of all. Iyenuhoro was stunned by the revelations that Oloi had just shared with her. Everything suddenly made sense. Why her master had always made her feel incompetent, why he had forbidden her from going near the river on nights of the full moon, and why he had repeatedly cut fresh wounds into her wrists. The fresh wounds were to weaken her and keep her powerless. As the pieces fell into place, Iyenuhoro's heart sank. Her master, the only family she had ever known, had been holding her captive all these years and had even killed innocent villagers for his own greed. Overwhelmed with emotion, Iyenuhoro sank to her knees. She had always felt like she was different, like she could do more. And now she knew why. Edafe, the supposed protector of her village, had been the true enemy all along. A fierce determination welled up inside her. If Edafe was responsible for the murder of her family, then she had to avenge their death, and that would mean helping the enemy of her enemy. With newfound confidence and a sense of purpose, Iyenuhoro made a bold declaration to Arhuan. She would help him defeat Edafe, but she would be the one to end him. Arhuan smiled, knowing that victory was now within reach. Under the guidance of Oloi Oromi, Iyenuhoro spent the next few days honing her supernatural abilities and crafting powerful charms. She worked tirelessly, drawing on the knowledge she had gained as a juju priest's apprentice to create potent herbs and protective amulets to infuse into the armors of the Benin warriors. Finally, the day of the battle arrived. Ewohimi, Arhuan's general, gathered every able-bodied fighter at Iyenuhoro's tent. But there were too many, so Arhuan shook his head. Edafe needed to know it was Iyenuhoro, his apprentice, that had been used to defeat him, so the giant gave each warrior a single task. Every warrior had to hold a log of burning firewood, and those who held it for the longest were chosen. The warriors carried the logs of burning firewood in their hands, and when each warrior had balanced their firewood on their heads, Arhuan opened up a calabash, and a swarm of angry mosquitoes circulated the Benin warriors, causing chaos and confusion. One by one, Arhuan eliminated the distracted warriors until only 12 remained, unflinching and unbothered. These 12 warriors, Arhuan would later train them in lethal combat techniques, making them an elite warrior group called the Asaka. Iyenuhoro infused these 12 warriors with her powerful charms, and together with Arhuan, they set out to defeat Edafe and the notorious Agbor fighters. The battle was long and fierce, but with Iyenuhoro's amulets and Arhuan's might, they were able to overpower their enemies. As the battle raged on, Iyenuhoro watched from a distance with a knowing smile on her face. Edafe would suffer a slow and painful death for what he had done to her and her family. It wasn't long before Arhuan and the Asaka warriors emerged victorious. Edafe was the only man left standing. He looked around and cried out, surprised to see his fighters laying dead on the ground. The giant seized Edafe by the head and dragged him before Iyenuhoro, giving her the chance to exact her revenge. But as she held out a cowrie necklace, prepared to strike, Edafe fell on his knees, begging for mercy, reminding her of all that he had done for her. And just as Iyenuhoro hesitated, an Agbor fighter gasped out for air. Edafe seized the opportunity and disappeared, leaving behind only his wrapper. Iyenuhoro was stunned. How could she have let this happen? But Arhuan merely shrugged his shoulders and chuckled. Let the old man go, he said. He won't be able to cause any more harm, especially now that he has no access to you. With their victory secured, the soldiers returned to Benin Kingdom to report their success. And for Iyenuhoro, a new chapter had begun. She had now discovered her true identity and her own inner strength, and she knew that she was now ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.